YouTube, what's going on, man? What's happening? I just pulled up at the crib, tired, one of those long days. You know when you pull up outside your house and you just got to chill in the car for 10-20 minutes? It's been one of those days, man. But I thought, let me pull out the camera and just speak to you guys. Let me zoom this in a little bit. You guys can see me a bit more clear now, innit? But yeah, I want to speak to you guys about a few different things, man. And the main thing I want to talk about is underestimating what it's going to take for you to be successful. I feel like I'm massively underestimated what it's going to take for me to get to this point that I'm currently at. Let me lock these doors because people are funny around here. But yeah, like I feel like when I first started my brand, I didn't know what it was going to take to get to this point. And to be honest with you, if I really knew that I had to go through everything I've gone through to get to this point, I don't think I'd even start the brand to begin with. I'll be real. I'll keep it a buck because I've gone through so much. And when I think back on my journey, yeah, and the process that I've gone through, and I ask myself, like, why has God decided for me to go down this long route of building my clothing brand? When I say that this business, this brand has been slow cooked, this ain't no microwave success, like, this ain't no minute makeover, no. This is that slow cooked turkey in the oven type of shit. Like, every single process has been thought about to the finest detail, and I've had to fight so much. I feel like I've been in a battle for the past few years, and it's only now where I feel like I'm getting to grips of how everything works, and I'm starting to see a little bit of those rewards. I'm starting to reap a little bit of those things that I sowed. I'm starting to get a little bit of those fruits that I deserve from building this brand for the past few years, and it's only 8 years. And when I ask myself, why has God taken me through this long route, this long journey, I understand that this isn't an overnight thing. This isn't a here today and gone tomorrow. Like, this is legacy. This is supposed to change my family's life. This is supposed to change the meaning of my last name. And I know a lot of people say that, but sometimes it might sound a bit corny, but I mean that. Like, everything, every single detail of my clothing brand here, down to the name. The name is called Trendsetter London. That's my initials, TSL, Trendsetter London. That's mine, my brother's and my dad's initials. Even down to the reason why our logo is on the right hand side. Most brands, they're on the left. Why is ours on the right? It's crazy, like, that's what I'm saying. Meaning, my mum had a stroke back in 2019. I was 17 years old. My mum had a stroke. She was this close from passing away, I swear to you. This close, on the brink of death. She survived. She's a fighter. She's still here today. But after that stroke, she lost complete control of the right side of her body. Yeah. Till now, she can't really use her right arm properly. She's still recovering. My dad, when I was younger, probably 3-4 years old, my dad used to ride motorbikes, R6s, and he had a motorbike accident. Until today, my dad can't use his right arm. So the whole reason why our logo is on the right hand side is to show that wherever they may be weak, I'm here to make sure that I'm their strong point. Do you understand what I'm saying? The brand's here to build them up. And this is what I'm saying to you, like, it's deeper. Obviously, I've got my daughter, man, my daughter Tanea. One day you guys are gonna meet her. And it's a thing where I had my daughter so young, and stereotypically it's like, right, you're a young parent, it's gonna be a struggle for you. Your daughter's not gonna have a good life. Are you crazy? I made a promise to myself, I made a vow to myself that my daughter is gonna live the best possible life that I can provide for her. Do you understand what I'm saying? A life that I only wish that I had growing up. And I had a good childhood, but it's like, I've got that chip on my shoulder to not be that statistic. So many things, like when Tanea gets older, when she gets to my age, she's 22, 23, I don't want it to be a thing where her friends are saying, oh, like, do you remember when your dad had that brand Trendsetter? No, it's raw. Like, what's your dad dropping this week for Trendsetter? It still needs to be relevant all the way down there, like down there 10, 20 years later down the line, the brand still needs to be relevant. And it's a thing where I've had to build these foundations, and that's why it's taken me so long to get to this point where I finally feel like things are starting to align, things are starting to click. It's because there's so many foundational elements that I had to put in place for this brand. I've grown with this clothing brand. Like, again, I started this brand when I was 16 years old, and you can see, it's mad looking back at the timeline of my clothing brand. You can see the progression of my clothing brand directly aligns to the progression of myself. And a lot of people, they feel like you need to focus so much energy on growing your business and pouring into your business, but they forget about themselves. Like, you're the director of your business, and your business can only grow at the rate that you personally grow in. So it's like, I've had to go on this journey of killing old habits, learning new things, being more disciplined, getting tapped in with God a lot more. Like, I'm gonna touch on that as well in a second. Like, there's so many different phases that I've had to go through to get to this point, to allow my brand to even reach this level that it's at right now. And I know to get it to where it needs to go, I'm gonna have to climb up even more. And people ask me all the time, like, why are you still running this clothing brand? It's been 8 years now, and you still haven't hit that success that you've been talking about for all of these years. Listen, and don't get it twisted. I've had wins along the way. Like, I've built my own bloody office from the ground up. Like, I'm talking laying new foundation, putting the bricks down, putting windows in there, tiling the floor, electrics. I've got a kitchen inside there. I've got a bathroom inside there with a seat. We've been featured in GQ magazine. I've bought my own car. Like, I've changed my financial life. Like, don't get it twisted. Along this journey, I've won. I've definitely won. But you know, when you go sleep at night and you think to yourself where you want to go in life, I just know that I've still got a distance to travel. And I know in order for me to get to that point, me personally, I need to develop. The person that got me to this point and got the business to this point is not going to be the same person that gets the business to that point. No way. So every day it's a continuous strive of just elevating in every way possible. And the main thing is God. Now listen to me when I say this, yeah. My brand felt like it was at a standstill for about 2 to 3 years. And no matter what I'd done, I could have the biggest influence on wearing my products. I could sell out on a drop. I just felt like the brand wasn't moving. I was having mad problems with manufacturers that I just weren't in control with. I'm ordering stock and the stock's getting lost in the flipping sea, like falling off a boat. Or I'm ordering tracksuits and you can't even pull the tracksuit bottoms past your ankles. I'm losing thousands of pounds. And it's like, none of this was in my control. And I really felt like at the time, God stripped everything from me and he said, listen, this brand ain't going nowhere until you find me. And I promise you, like, when I started to go to church and I started to understand what the Bible's really about, the Bible ain't a religious book, a Bible's a blueprint. Imagine if I created the world, yeah, which I'm far from it, but just for this example to show you the value of this Bible, like, imagine that I created the world, and then I created the world and I wrote a manual on how to operate in this world as best as possible, and I've made it accessible for everyone, and you don't pick up the book. It doesn't make sense. Like, there's so many success principles within the Bible, and there's so many things that God has instructed me to do within my business. If I didn't have God, I wouldn't be here right now. I promise you, like, the brand wouldn't be where it's at right now. So yeah, man, it's just been a journey of understanding myself, understanding where God wants to take this brand. Because listen, I reached a point where I was tired of trying to direct this thing by myself. I've got to the point now where my job is just to row. I'm rowing this boat and God's steering it. He's directing where he wants this brand to go, and my personal life as well. So this is just a message to anyone that's running their business. Like, don't forget God in your journey, man. Don't forget God in your journey. If God can create a whole universe and everything within it, what makes you think that he can't make your business go where it needs to go? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So yeah, man. And like, even touching on something else as well, that's what I was gonna say. The reason why I feel like I've gone through this delayed process of pushing and fighting for this brand to get to where it needs to go is because God was teaching me something concerning the essence of running a clothing brand. I promise you right now, there is nothing that I do not know about my clothing brand. I know the ins and the outs, the ups and the downs. And I've got to the point now where I can start passing that blueprint on to other people. When I first started my brand, there was no one giving me any type of guidance, assistance. Tay, you should do this. Tay, you shouldn't do that. I had to figure it out by myself, which meant that I lost a lot of money. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes, but that built me into a beast. Like, it turned me into a different animal, and I'm writing. I got super analytical about what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong, to the point where I have a whole blueprint to follow now. I know what works. The only reason why I am where I am today is two things, yeah. Number one, that word quitting doesn't even make sense to me. Like, that word doesn't even resonate or relate to me. There's no quitting around here. We're in this. And the second thing, yeah, is that I've literally just found all the ways that do not work. Literally, I've gone through every single way that doesn't work. Now I'm only left with ways that do work. Bro, all work works. There's a lot of us, I can relate to this, where you're working on a specific project and you may not see the results of it straight away. and you think that it's not working, listen, all work works. It's either working for you or it's working on you. So if you're not seeing those results directly in your real life and it's not materializing, just know that it may not be working for you, but it's working on you. It's building something inside of you so that when you do achieve that success, you can maintain it. You see, if my brand really blew 3-4 years ago, yeah, I honestly don't think I'd be able to sustain and maintain that growth. I'd lose my mind. But this process that I've gone through of developing and understanding what it takes to not have much, to not have the money, to have all of these ideas, but you can't invest into these projects, to be limited by your resources, I understand what it means to have no. So when I do have, now that I have certain things around me, I'm stewarding these things properly. I'm not wasting it. I'm negotiating. That price that your manufacturer gives you, that first price that your manufacturer gives you, I'm not rocking with that. We're negotiating. What's best for them is worse for me, and what's best for me is worse for them. So how can I find a way that I've got the better end of the stick in this deal, in this negotiation, man? So what I'm saying to you is that this process that you're going through, where things may seem like they're not connecting, they're not resonating, stick with it, because it's working on you. And before it works for you, it has to work on you. It's like planting a tree. When you really think about it, planting a tree don't make much sense. The tree's aim is to grow and to be this 20, 30 foot tree, but in order for it to grow, it needs to go down. It starts off as a seed and it needs to go down, and then it needs to get covered with mud and dirt and soil and darkness. And that's what makes it grow. So you've got to go down before you come up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's the exact same concept as a tree, but when you're down there, you're picking up on all of the minerals that you need to sustain that growth and to be that 20, 30, 40, 50 foot tree. It's the same thing with your business, man. So I'm going to go inside the house. That's just a quick message to anyone that's going through this process of not knowing what to do while they're on this journey of success, building their clothing brand, building their business. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And don't let anyone discredit how far you've come, because you've definitely come far. Don't judge how far you've come based off of where you want to go in the future. Judge how far you've come based off of where you're coming from in the past. Like, understand that you started off from the slums. Like, I started off as a 16-year-old big-head boy who didn't know nothing about business, let alone a clothing brand. And now we've got our own office. Like, we've got a team. Like, I'm helping other clothing brands. I've got a community of 50 clothing brand owners that I'm speaking to daily, jumping on weekly calls with them. By the way, if you want to join that, whoa, I don't know what all that was about, but yeah, I'm about to go now. But if you want to join the community, Trendsetter Foundation for clothing brand owners, press the top link in my bio. I'll see you guys inside there, man.